This is Katie, co-host of Coffee with Keith and Katie. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Bryce Burge, host of Your Soccer Passport here on Public House Media. After this episode, come join us on a trip around the soccer world as we discuss club and country every Tuesday. Stamp your soccer passport by subscribing on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your Public House Media podcasts. And thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Everyone, it is No Filter Friday on Public House Media, and I'm doing this week from a bathrobe because it just makes the most sense. It just does. I'm not even drinking real LaCroix. It's some seltzer water that I got 2 for $9 at CVS. I mean, it's just one of those weeks. I mean, Robin Leach died today. Of all people. And he was only like 77, which is really, really sad because it's kind of a terrible reminder that, you know, the good life will just take you too soon. But I'm really, really hoping that his body is going to be like submerged in a vat of caviar and he's going to be entombed in some sort of like Moe mausoleum that's like gold and crazy. But that's what I'm hoping for. Anyway, maybe other people are hoping for that too. But so sad. So sad. Robin Leach is gone. What would we do without him? Like, how many people did he teach how to correctly pronunciate Dolce & Gabbana? It's a life legacy there, folks. That's a life legacy. But besides life legacies, is David Bobke in yet? Can he see if, David Bobke, if you're in, can you tell me if it sounds okay? Because I'm kind of worried about it. Because my dogs are on a very strict all headphones diet. They like to chew things off. See this side? Doesn't have a squishy thing. Because my dogs will eat it. Anyway. This week, yay, David Bobke is here, and he thinks that encasing Robin Leach in gold is the way to go. Sound is great. Wonderful. I agree, like, who more befitting, you know? Like, I think Moe and Chandon should, like, build his mausoleum, because who deserves one more than he does? Nobody. But, for Me Too in general, this week, holy crapshoot. I mean, it's all like snarled and gnarled together. It's like, you know, when you just throw some jewelry in a bag because you have places to be and then you try to go to wear something and it's just snarled together and you're just sitting here trying to pick it apart. Like, this isn't working. That's what's going on for hashtag #MeToo this week. This situation with Asia Argento being, I don't want to say accused because there's pictures of her with this kid, the 17-year-old kid that she slept with when she was 37, and then she's already paid him like $380,000 or something crazy like that. What she's saying was Anthony Bourdain's idea, and who's to know if that's true or not or whatever, because he's dead and gone now. I mean, it is a mess. It's an absolute mess. Doesn't discredit Me Too at all. I don't think. It's just kind of, there's an article in Playboy that came out that was like, well, it's kind of proof that it's working, basically. And it is, but it's such a strange piece of it. Like, this kid, Asia Argento's a strange chick. Off tops. Any way you cut it, you take out anything she's said or done in her life, she's still a strange chick. She's really only been in a couple American movies, like Triple X, and I think there was one more that she was in, but most of the movies that she's been in were her dad's Italian horror movies where she's like boning demons and stuff. And by the way, if you haven't seen the woman's vagina tattoo, go check it out. It'll tell you a lot of stuff. So will some of the imagery on her Instagram. Very strange. It's very, very strange to me that a director daddy would have had her as an actress so young doing nudity and sex scenes in his movies. It's weird. It's very, 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 very strange. But I think it contributes to the general situation going on with her. You know, probably at least some of the, oh, Yvonne's here. Hey, Yvonne, thanks for coming by. At least some of the strangeness with her, like, she's a real, weird chick. She just is. And then when you compile that with her relationship with Anthony Bourdain, and apparently he's the one that paid out this kid the initial $200,000, and then he was supposed to be getting $10K a month after that, up to $380, because I don't think that he sued her, but there was some sort of a settlement, and the kid said that he wanted to handle it with the person that wronged him on a private level, and he initially, like, tried to go after her for, like, $3.5 million or something, and then came down to $380. But that's the really crazy part, is that this kid that she slept with, this Jimmy kid, played her son. A few years ago, she directed this movie about her, that she directed and she starred in. And it was about her being a truck stop hooker, and her son, the kid that played their son in it, was her 7-year-old son that she would, like, dress up in drag, basically, and then sell him as a lot lizard, too. And this was, her movie that she starred and directed in with this kid. And then, so, cut to 10 years later, he shows up in her hotel room, and according to the kid, they got drunk and boned, and then took some pictures in bed together, which is another crazy piece of this. Like, what on earth are you doing? Like, who takes pictures in bed together? That's just strange. It's just strange. And then she said that she didn't know that he was underage, but if he was 7 when they did the movie and it had only been 10 years, basic math will tell you that he was 17. So, and even still, when you're a 37-year-old woman, what on earth are you doing boning a guy even kind of close to that young? Like, we all know that dick is pretty much garbage until at least hit like 36, and then, some improvements can be made. But, like, what, these chicks that, like, go around, like, these teachers that screw their high school students or worse, like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, it's gotta be terrible. On top of the fact that it's just wrong, I don't see the appeal. Like, it's got to be absolutely excruciatingly awful. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, when men, go after, like, young chicks or underage chicks or whatever, I kind of get it. Whatever. It's part of who they are. But when women do it, it's just grosser. It's just strange. Like, I don't see the appeal. It's so gross to me. I can't even imagine. Like, okay. To be fair, I've always liked old guys. Old guys are my favorite kind of guys. But that's besides the point. Never liked guys my age. I will admit that. Yes, Yvonne. Yes, come on. If I'm lying, tell me if I'm lying. Yvonne commented, that's what I thought too. It's so stupid taking selfies after the deed. Yeah, useless dick. It is! It's at this young... I'm not trying to be anybody's Mrs. Robinson. I don't think anybody else should be either. Like, we'll leave that up to Mike Nichols and Mike Nichols only. Like, it's gross. It's so, like, I can't even imagine how you would even get in the mindset for that. It's so strange. But However, I don't think that it is stupid for them to be taking selfies afterwards, but I don't think it was an accident. I think those pictures or videos or whatever it is that they took, I think they happened for a reason. She's out of, like, legal trouble, like, criminal legal trouble, because if anything did happen, it's well beyond the statute of limitations, which is another strange thing. Like, we're hearing about this a few years later. It's been 5 years. This happened back in 2003. So there's a window of 1 year criminally, I think, for, like, molest, and then 3 years for rape in the state of California anyway. Other places could be different, but apparently she is out of, like, criminal legal trouble, but it's just strange. It's strange to me. Like, why would this 17-year-old kid that played the son of this chick show up at her hotel room in Marina Del Rey? Why was she staying in a hotel in Marina Del Rey, of all places? Like, it's weird. It's very, 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 very strange. Like, none of it makes sense. There is elements missing to this, and I think that the selfies and the little videos or whatever is, oh, Tiara's here. Hello, Tiara. Thanks for coming by. I think they were intentional. I think those were planned. I think it was part of the situation. Apparently this kid hasn't worked in a long time. Like, he was getting a lot of work as a child actor, and then things fell off for him, which is really, 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 really common. And then I read another article that's interesting. I think somebody at the New Yorker wrote it, and it was about how the after party for the premiere of that film was in, like, a bungalow or something at the Chateau Marmont. And God love the Chateau Marmont. It's certainly one of my favorite places. It's magical. It's like another world. But the parties at the Chateau Marmont sometimes can be a little questionable, to say the least. But anyway, so apparently this kid, like, they were having a party in this bungalow, and a bunch of people were there. Marilyn Manson was there for whatever reason. The only reason I can think of is because it's, like, his favorite place ever. And he will profess that until his dying day. But apparently this 7-year-old kid was kicking it at this party after the premiere, and, like, him and Marilyn Manson are just, like, chilling on the bed together. I don't know. It's weird. I've never heard a bad word about him, and I'm not implying anything like that, but it's kind of strange to have, like, an 8-year-old at an after party at the Chateau Marmont if their last name's not Barrymore. Just saying. But anyway, if you're interested in that element, go read that article from the New Yorker, because it's very descriptive, and it's a good window into what was happening between them at the time. But she's just a strange chick. However, my point in bringing up Asia Argento in this is that, of course, her situation needs to be addressed with this kid as far as Me Too goes. But besides that, just because she did something to somebody else, if she did or she didn't, whatever, we'll say, for argument's sake, we'll say that she did. If she did sexually abuse someone else, it doesn't negate what happened to her or her being abused. This is why. And this is why sexual abuse of any kind, whether it be, molest, rape, however you cut it, doesn't matter. Sexual abuse of any kind, when it happens to people that are underage, there is, especially for men, because 1 in 6 boys is molested, between 0 and 18. The chance, there is a 96 to 97% chance that if a boy is molested, he will repeat the behavior as an adult, and it keeps the cycle going. So then they go out and molest somebody, and then, or 1 or 2 or 10 or whatever, depending on if they're a priest or not, and there's more. It grows. It's like a pathogen, basically, which is why preventing sexual abuse and nipping it in the bud as quickly as possible and stopping them from being able to keep continuing it. It's not just them specifically, but it's an entire web that they can spin of abuse, and it's very, very bad for society as a whole. Last week, talking about the Vatican and their cover-up of all the molest that has happened under a bunch of priests, we got into that a little bit, but the truth of it is like, most boys that are sexually abused don't ever get help. They never say anything about it. They just live with it, and it manifests later in life however it does. And it's not okay, and it's not productive, and it's not good for anybody. With that being said, cases like his, because this kid Jimmy said, there's like, well, I didn't want to come out and say anything because, I felt shameful in it, and, nobody was gonna back him up anyway, because what 17-year-old boy doesn't want to bone, a hot actress? But at the time, she was also 37, so not that I've ever spent any time as a 17-year-old boy, but I feel like she wouldn't be at the top of the list. If there's a list, I don't think that she would be at the top of it, considering she also played his mom, man. It's weird. It's weird. It's so gross, and it's weird and disgusting. But the fact that Anthony Bourdain is dead and gone, so we don't even have his side of the story, and then on top of it, this kid kind of popped up out of obscurity, but I wouldn't be surprised, and this is just my own personal theory, but I wouldn't be surprised if this Jimmy kid, was a part of one of these dossiers that Harvey Weinstein had built with his law firms and his private investigation team to undermine Asia Argento. And I, like how I said, those pictures and those selfies and stuff of them in bed together isn't an accident. I think it's all wrapped up into that. I don't think it's going to come out specifically for a while. Why? When you're live, why does Facebook give you notifications for other people? I don't care what other people are doing when I'm live. I can't care. I'm live. Hello, doing things. Anyway, this will all come to fruition at some point, just not this week. But it is important to continue the conversation. And much like with the situation with Terry Crews, like, just because it happened to a guy does not mean it is not wrong. Because abuse is abuse is abuse is abuse. And if she did, in fact, touch this kid in any way sexually, it's still statutory. Any way you cut it, it's still illegal, it's still wrong. You can't do it. Whether the kid liked it or not, I don't see why. I want to light this candle. I don't have a lighter. Apparently she's pulling out of like some sort of like festival duty or something somewhere. But the thing is like, Asia Argento hasn't worked in years. Like, the best thing to happen to her was dating Anthony Bourdain, and then she dumped him, and then he hung himself, and here we are now with this crazy mess to detangle. And it's not going to get detangled for a while. Like, there's going to be some more craziness that comes out before this whole thing comes to light. But we've been waiting for the ladies. We've been waiting for the lady stories of craziness and sexual abuse, and here we are. So maybe this will open the floodgate for other people. Like, maybe some of these lady executives that have been known predators, particularly at Sony, maybe Paramount, depending. See if their stories will come out or not on the heels of this. But that's the thing, is like, it's this whole like hashtag Me Too thing is like, it's like Jenga. It is like abuse Jenga. Because like every week, one brick that we didn't even know was there gets pulled out, and it exposes something else. And it's like, how are we supposed to sift through all of this? This is craziness. Like, come on. But I don't think I don't think, like, it was a miracle at all that Asia Argento got to present at the Cannes award ceremony this year. Like, yeah, she's got some, you know, big hooks in Europe, but, like, I don't think under any other circumstances they would have had her presenting. So it's definitely kind of brought her to the foreground a little bit, and now she's going to have to fall back for sure and just kind of shut her mouth and make her payments to this kid and keep it moving, I guess, or don't. I mean, it's not like she works, so we shall see what happens with this monstrosity. But abuse is abuse is abuse, and whoever it happens to needs to be taken care of accordingly and have to figure the people out. If she did, in fact, statutorily rape this kid, she doesn't work anything. Anyway, the statutes of limitations are run out. There's not much to do. Apparently he's already got his money. And the worst it's going to do is that if and when Asia and Harvey ever end up in court against each other, that's going to be, you know, a sticking point for Weinstein's lawyers. But who knows if that day is ever going to come. There's plenty of other people to go toe-to-toe with Harvey that don't have those kinds of problems. So I don't think Asia will be going to court with him anytime soon, and especially in his current punching bag is Rose McGowan. So I don't think it's going to change his trajectory that much. But anyway, what are we going to do? This whole thing is unfolding by the hour. Like, the Reason.com posted another article about it like 10 hours ago now. So it's unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. Maybe we will have an update next week on this, but I feel like I've done like 3 shows about Asia Argento now. Between like the original one between her and Harvey, when Anthony Bourdain died, and now like she just keeps popping up, but and I just have to deal with it. We all just have to talk about it. This is the way that it is. So, thank you for joining me and my off-brand sparkling water for No Filter Friday on Public House Media. Listen to the podcast version if you haven't before. It's on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Google Play, and a few other places that I forget, but they're there. I think it might be on Spotify too. Maybe, possibly. I need to look into that. Leave it a comment or a review or a star, perhaps, depending on where you get the podcast from. And check out other shows on Public House Media, like Coffee with Keith and Katie, or Choose to Rise, or How to Write Good. There's lots and lots of... Oh, thanks for coming by, Yvonne. See you later. Bye. There's lots of others. I mean, this is the dark and dingy show of Public House Media. Everybody else's shows are like nice and bright and cheerful and happy. Not this one. This one's the weird little late night one that talks about strange things. But oh, and okay, hang on. This is my PS. This is one more thing that I want to mention. I found it very strange, on top of everything else, that in what was in the articles that was written about Asia, I don't know her, but it was very, very detailed. More detailed than anybody else's accounts have been on allegedly what had happened. So, is that anything? In my opinion, it is. I don't believe in coincidences, and I think that goes double for Hollywood. So, I think it's strange that it's so incredibly detailed when a lot of other cases are just like, oh, well, they may be, ha 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 ha. Like, it's very left up to the imagination, and that's not good. So, I will see you next week for hashtag No Filter Friday. Again, 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. You know that because you're already here. So, see you later, kids. Bye.